and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 560 for the week of October 2nd. Halloween month. I don't know. I got nothing. It's that spooky month, Brock. No?
No.
Every day is Halloween, Brock. Every day is Halloween. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
And Kevin.
Brock's just giving me this look of like, what the hell is he saying? Like, what is he talking about?
If you like Halloween,
you would normally do that laugh on Halloween week, right?
No, it's like Target. You celebrate Halloween from August through October.
It's whenever they drop pumpkin spice, everyone thinks it's Halloween. I'm like, God,
Christmas stuff's already out, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
It's holiday season, and I hate it. It's the worst.
We got a couple comic things to talk about. We got a couple movie things to talk about. We got a couple questions. We'll do that. Talk about Sandman. I got nothing else this week. I got nothing.
Can we talk about Absolute Black in streaming shows?
We can if you want. Yeah,
I haven't watched House of Dragon. I just assume that
you can't see shit.
Like
our episode takes place outside at night.
Because like Obi-Wan had some pretty dark scenes in it, and Mandalorian had some pretty dark scenes in it.
Yeah, I don't know. My thought is this. My thinking goes with this. These people watched the final product on a movie theater-like screen in a black darkened like movie theater-like room. And it's probably not better, not great, but probably like, yeah, we can see this. They don't watch it on a regular TV in a lit room.
Or even in a room where the lights are off.
The way 98% of people are watching TV. Like, yeah, fucking up your audio, make it clear, stop putting scenes in complete darkness. Like, you can have a scene in darkness if we're not supposed to see anything. But this last episode, I'm like, well, I'm sure this kid riding around this dragon's great. I can't see shit, but all right. I'm sure the special effects people love that that their work's being, just blacked out. Like, all right, good one, guys. Good one.
Well, HBO's having to cut back on save money. Discovery wants them to save a little money, so
There's ways to do it without making it so
you was an actual stick figure drawing of a kid riding a dragon. They just blacked it out.
Yeah. It's actually just like a wireframe of a dragon. Yeah. They're like, just make it really dark. No one can see it. It'll be fun. Hey, we're going to talk briefly about Carlos Pacheco. We talked about it end of last week's episode.
Yeah.
About him announcing that he has ALS, and at the time we didn't know anything specific on what that meant for the future of his career, what was going on. But as far as I can tell, earlier this week, Carlos Pacheco did post that the current cover on the shelf for Damage Control number 3 was his last piece of work. So
Damage Control number 3, eBay, hot item.
I mean, that is an unfortunate book to go out on. I'm not trying to. Of all the things this guy's done through the years,
I mean,
his final one being
if he at least had a trade,
the new Wasp running on a burrito that someone's eating. Like, I don't know. Like, oh no, that's number 2. Oh no, sorry, number 3 is this next one. So no, sorry. So the issue that's out right now is not his final issue.
Okay.
No, wait, no. It says his last piece. No, this is not number 3. Sorry, it is number 2. It is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So the issue that's out now is his last piece of work. Yeah, not for number 3. It is for number 2. Sorry, I misread that. That's the number 3. Yeah. I think Avengers Forever kind of, I would put that probably as his defining work. He had a lot of, Pacheco's done work for Marvel and DC for late 90s, early 2000s. What was his first like big published work?
See, what would have been nice is if he was able to do like a brand new cover for the trade collection of Avengers Forever as his last piece, and then that's just the cover dress that they went with for, you know, the next few installments of that book. But to go out on Damage Control #2.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't realize he did some of the Marvel UK stuff in the early 90s before he came over. Yeah, because I know he worked on Flash, and some of the X-Men stuff. That was I guess it was mid 90s. Yeah, when he started doing more work for Marvel. Yeah, because he did a lot of the X-Men stuff, Avengers Forever.
Wasn't he on Green Lantern in that early Johns era?
Yeah. I was just I didn't realize he did stuff this early. With the Marvel UK stuff. Yeah, I didn't realize he did stuff quite this early. Yeah, I forgot his real early work was Age of Apocalypse era X-Men stuff. I'm just kind of looking at a full list of his work here, but yeah, I mean, I think that's always going to be a big one. Obviously, his Fantastic Four run as well, right? With Mark Waid, he did a bunch of those issues. Mm-hmm. Kind of frustrating that's his last piece of work. So yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know. God, you'd love to see Marvel do something, reissue his, Avengers Forever kind of a charity release or something. JLA JSA Virtue and Device. That is long out of. Well, that is long. I'm gonna live check our stock level here while we're on the air.
While you're doing that can double as the random pick of the week.
I believe long out of print. I do not. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that JLA JSA Virtue and Device is. I'm just gonna look here real quick. It's pretty confident. Yeah, it's been out of print for a long time. That would be a wonderful project for DC to reissue as a sort of way to maybe get him some money. Fortunately, having to retire. Jeff Johns and David Goyer. That's early Jeff Johns work too. That was right when they started. That was early in the JSA run when he was still like co-writing it. I can't remember what issues those take place like around, but. I didn't think there was a new edition of that out.
Well, the other, because Avengers Forever is so long, but that JLA JSA is short. That's perfect for an oversized edition. Like not an artist edition, but like a tall, nice book.
Yeah.
Like a deluxe.
Yeah. One of their deluxe art covers. Yeah, for sure. That should, that really, really should be back in print. I know, with the new JSA series come out, maybe they'll look back at some of that JSA stuff to get reprinted. I don't know what the deal with more Aerosmith is. That was the
we want it without any movie covers.
Oh yes, sure. I don't know what
TV covers.
Yeah. I don't. Has Busek said anything about more Aerosmith? Have they?
Did they do what's the second volume? Did they?
Right. So they did the new volume finally.
Yes, that's all that he has said.
Right. So I don't know if he had mentioned anything about them doing more, because it's him and Carlos Pacheco. So I wasn't sure if Busek had made any comments about doing a third volume with someone else, or if they're just calling it a day.
Well, it'd still be nice maybe if Pacheco could, at least creatively add to it, maybe not necessarily just like writing, but at least like maybe a co-writing or something.
I mean, I don't know how much Pacheco had to do story wise. I'm sure he was involved at some level with the story. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing any statement here by Kurt Busek about the future of Aerosmith.
Well, so I mean, it's still early. I mean, he only dropped that ALS thing like 2 weeks ago.
I'm just.
I know he deleted it, at least on Facebook.
I just assume he would have. He probably already had, told Kirby, because that's why I think the book was running so late. Very unfortunate. We'll see if the industry, hopefully your initiative can step up. I don't know he hasn't, to the best that I've seen, not made any sort of announcement of needing financial support or anything like that. So I don't know what the future is, but we'll see. We'll obviously keep people updated if there's been any replies, because he's a great artist, and I'd hate to see stuff like this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So. That's it for that's it for like comic news. There isn't a ton of comic news.
Comics are coming out.
Yeah,
the industry's not dying.
Yeah, just quiet couple weeks, nothing big. You're getting into the year, things are already announced. We're just not seeing anything. There's nothing new coming. So we'll obviously have some.
You might have something after New York, maybe.
Yeah. When's in New York this weekend, right?
Yeah,
or next weekend. Yep. This upcoming weekend. I know Neil Gaiman's going to be there.
Isn't Baltimore coming up too?
Baltimore's end of the month.
Yeah. There's no New York and Comic Con are really the only
Baltimore's like a comics and art show. It's not an announcement show.
No. I know there's a lot of rumor that Gaiman's going to announce Sandman season 2 at New York, because he's going to be there. We'll see. He says no, but that's the rumor, right? He obviously isn't going to say, I'm going to announce it there. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, because he's not under a contract or anything.
So we'll see what ends up happening.
I can't wait for his Rings of Power drop that he's going to do it at New York.
Yeah, sure. That's a joke for anyone that's not on Twitter. What was I going to say? But we do have some movie news. Talk about a few of these real quick. And we'll get some questions. We'll talk Sandman. 2 episodes to go for the Sandman. We'll talk about those real quick. I don't know. Who knows if this is a kind of a harbinger of things to come. But Netflix dropped a comic show that was in production, halfway through production. So unfortunately, at least not at Netflix, we will not be seeing Matt Wagner's Grendel come to Netflix. Kevin's shaking his head.
Yeah,
did you expect this?
Wasn't it filmed? Wasn't it finished?
I don't know if it was finished. What I read was it was like halfway through, quote unquote, halfway through production, whatever that means. Maybe filmed and
I believe I had read something that it was
finalized,
filmed, but not that all the effects were not done.
Right,
but the raw footage was done. Yeah, that's a shame, man. That would have been a really interesting show, and I hope it shows up somewhere.
I have to check those Grendel omnibuses that Dark Horse has been posting and make sure they don't say, now a Netflix TV show. I still have those Why the Last Man. Watch on Hulu, season 1 now. It's like, oh boy. Yeah. What's so funny about this, by the time those things end up hitting comic stores, like, the things are over. Like, or they get canceled, or like, it's so frustrating. I wish they would. I talked to one of my reps at DC, and I was like, just don't make comic book versions of these trades for comic stores. The movie versions don't give to us because nobody wants them here. Like, give us the comic book covers. Like, don't give us the movie covers because we just don't sell them.
What, you don't want your Black Adam JSA stuff?
They all look the same. It's like the exact same photo on like all 3 covers. It's really bad.
It's like one's a distant shot, and then one's a little bit closer, and then one's like at an angle or like off to the side. I'm like, it's so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got to stop that. So, like, what's funny? So there's a Blue Beetle trade. The Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle trade just came out. It's a comic cover, perfect, right? I mean, obviously, there's not really stuff. There's like the suit, so they could have put a movie cover on it, but they didn't. It's like, no, yes, do that. Don't put the movie shit on it. Send that to Barnes and Noble. Send that to Walmart. Like, that's where that stuff sells. We're not going to sell it. when they solicited those Black Adam trades,
Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, when they solicited those Stargirl or those Black Adam trades, they had the comic book covers on them, and the movie covers ended up shipping. I was like, "The fuck! Like, I don't want this." Super frustrating.
So, are those Grendel Omnis in print?
Yeah, so they did the first. So it's like the soft cover, right? It's like
they're like
the
half
Hellboy
size,
ones,
right?
Yeah, no. So they're like the half compendiums, like the Epic style, right? Like bigger than Epics, smaller than the compendiums, so not quite as big as like the Saga and Walking Dead.
When you say bigger versus smaller, are you talking about page count or size? Literal
page count.
Size.
They are normal comic size.
Yeah.
So they call themselves omnibuses. They are not an omnibus. They are not a oversized hardcover. They are a.
It's Dark Horse's version of a compendium.
It's the Epic / compendium style. So they're not as big as the Saga and Walking Dead and Starman ones, but they're not the size of an Epic. They're like kind of in between. So it's a good page count. I mean, they're very big, but they're not.
At least they're not digest omnibuses that Dark Horse used to do.
Well, right. That's what they used to have. Yeah. The Grendels were all not digest, but the smaller form factor, and like the 3/5 size or whatever. And I hated those. Like all those are gone. So. It's a great collection. Ignore the show. Like, just buy Grendel.
Yes.
Like, I haven't read any of the later stuff, but the first handful of Grendel series I read, it's
well, Grendel traumatized you with the old chop, so
our old
Grendel mannequin,
our old mannequin. Yeah, no. If you like Batman, Punisher, I mean, obviously it's not exactly like that, but if you like those darker stories
with more of a supernatural.
Spawn, stuff like that. Check out Grendel.
I mean, I don't know that it would have had the viewership to be like a smash hit for Netflix, which is probably what they're looking at. But you could have made a really good single season Grendel adaptation and just called it a day and walked off stage with that. But
with the first.
But that's probably not their model now. Like a single season and out is probably not a appealing thing. But it's too bad. It would have been unlike any other comic adaptation. As far as the source material.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know anything about the plot of the show, what they were going for. I assume Hunter Rose. I assume the first
I think that
book.
Yeah, I think roughly. It is Hunter Rose. Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Maybe Hulu will pick it up. Maybe it'll show up on HBO Max or something like that. I think there's a chance it'll get picked up. It seems popular enough. And I mean, I know I never saw that new Hellboy movie, but there's enough, I think, goodwill to Mignola, to like his creations, that I think someone would snag it.
This is not Mignola though.
Oh, fucking not Mignola.
Matt Wagner.
Matt Wagner. Sorry. But I mean that style. Mage. Wasn't there talk of a Mage show too? But that never happened, huh?
Mage, and there was a talk of a Mage movie forever ago,
like way back in the day, right? Yeah. But no, I never saw that new Hellboy. But
I don't think you're missing much.
No. But the
like the first two Hellboys the first one was okay. The second
one was great. They were great.
Like the second one suffered from sophomore syndrome, but
I like both of them. But they're. And Grendel's harder than Hellboy, but then the movies would have been. But yeah, it's more violent. But it's actually, I mean, comic wise, I think I feel like Hellboy. Grendel's
it's of the same
ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Deadpool level violence, is it?
Well, I mean, no, it's not cartoony. It's way more serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a guy running around with guns.
No.
It's like a Batman type character who's also a like supernatural assassin.
Okay.
And he carries along a big. Didn't your figure have this big spear?
Yeah, the big like.
It's like a big.
I don't know how to describe it.
It's like a spear with two blades at the tip.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what they call it. Yeah, great costume too.
Yeah,
translate really well to like a very accurate.
It's very frightening
design. Grendel.
Yeah.
Well, so the thing with Grendel, right, is that it's not just one character, right? There's multiple. It was a War Child, right? Wasn't that like the second or third volume? That's like the big monster guy, right?
Yeah, and then there's the female version in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's been a bunch of different people that have kind of taken the, I don't know.
Yeah, the Grendel's like a title. It's a it's not a guy. It's not a single dude. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Disappointing, but see what happens.
Well, I guess my hopes are flickering for ever seeing an American flag adaptation. As long as
oh God,
I mean, if you could do I say on that, do something like Archer, like an adult cartoon,
animated,
because it's so full of sex and violence. I just don't know that you could pull it off.
Yeah, I've never read any of American Flag.
Oh,
maybe
I've sold plenty of sets of it on eBay.
I mean, it's of its time.
We had a bunch of them recently.
It's of its time.
Sure.
Just think of like a comedy. Well, comedy's the wrong word. Think of like a lighter, kind of more satirical Blade Runner. It's that type of story.
Mentioned Deadpool a few minutes ago. We got a pretty surprise reveal.
Okay,
direct from
Disney
Ryan Reynolds.
Should never, ever question what Ryan Reynolds wants to do when it comes to marketing. Never, ever should they question him. Period. Like,
no, he knows how to do it. Ryan Reynolds released a video that said, "Sorry, I know you guys have been waiting for Deadpool 3. Sorry it's taken so long. They really didn't have any ideas, so they're just going to bring Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, and they're going to fight for 2 hours, and that's the movie." So, it's funny. I mean, I know he said, made some comment like, come in MCU. I think people may have misunderstood what he says in this video. They're not. I mean, I'm sure the end of the movie is Deadpool falls through some portal and lands in the Marvel universe, right? But this is an X-Men movie. This is the last X-Men Fox universe movie. It's Hugh Jackman's not going to be Wolverine in the MCU. He's just not going to be, right? So this is a good stopgap while they're, whatever they end up doing with the X-Men in 2026 or 2027 or whatever.
Is this where they introduce Hope?
No.
And then they bring Hope with him into...
No, never. They've got 10,000 X-Men to deal with before they get to her. So this will be... it's funny. I mean, one of the articles, just specifically here, this is one from Newsarama, but I was like, Deadpool 3 will noticeably mark the first appearance of Deadpool or Wolverine as part of the current MCU. Again, that's not what's happening, guys, right? I mean,
we don't know.
He says in the video, I know you've been waiting for Deadpool to come to the MCU. Sorry, we have no ideas. We're just going to do this instead. I mean, I think people misunderstand that this is not going to be an MCU movie. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't... sure, maybe Spider-Man, whatever day movie, whatever the brand new, whatever the third one called. I don't remember. One more day, brand new, long from home. I can't remember what the hell any of these movies are called.
The first was Homecoming.
I guess maybe,
and then the last was No Way Home.
Sure, I guess maybe Deadpool and Wolverine get popped over like Venom did, and they're here. But that would be horrible. Like, there's no way
that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman just capping on each other as Wolverine and Deadpool for 2 hours and stabbing each other and just all of that.
Yeah, but it's not going to be. But what I'm saying is Hugh Jackman is not going to be Wolverine in the MCU movies for the next 15 years.
No.
So
the only reason he's coming back is because Ryan Reynolds said, "Hey, do you want to do Wolverine one last time for me?" And he goes,
"Yeah." My question is this, you guys: what is the size of the dump truck full of cash backed up to Hugh Jackman's front door after he went out with Logan? Like, that's the cap on that character. Right. You're done.
Yeah.
Now to come back for a comedy version of that character.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Well, yeah. No, look, how long? How you do a timestamp of how long Hugh Jackman how much screen time he actually has.
17 minutes.
Where Hugh Jackman is visible on screen. Yeah. Not Wolverine, not a CG thing in the past, not something, not the stuntman in the costume. You do you look at how much time Hugh Jackman is on screen. Like, I think it's going to be.
No, you know what Hugh did?
17 minutes, Kevin?
No,
is that your
New Year's pool?
No, I got I got even better. I have even better. You ready? He deep fakes the whole movie.
I like look doing the ADR, is that what they call it, right? Like, he comes in one weekend, records for an hour, says his 10 lines. I don't want to Price Is Right you and do like $18 minutes, but it's like that, right?
1 minute that's be Price Is Right me.
1 minute. Yeah.
Now, would you be disappointed if in the opening scene, Wolverine is in the opening scene and is decapitated, and the rest of the movie is Deadpool with Hugh Jackman's head hopping through the multiverse having an adventure?
I mean, sure. I get the feeling this is going to be a big drag down fight for an hour and 45 minutes.
Well, they released the second video.
Yeah.
They're talking about it, and like they're doing all the motions and stuff.
People did like lip reading.
People did lip reading and stuff like that. So it's like, I think it's just. I hope it's just they get to have some fun. They have a great time filming it. Right. No matter what happens, it's just a Deadpool thing. Right, because Ryan Reynolds his passion for that character brought it to the screen.
Oh yeah, no, right? I'm not against this. Yeah, of course, and more Deadpool. Make 100 of them. They're great. They're funny. Like, yeah, that's fine. No problem with it.
Kevin, you heard it here. He said make 100 of them, so we're fucked.
Well, they will. I mean, as long as he wants to do it, I'm sure they'll keep making them. But I expect Hugh Jackman will have an extremely limited role in this movie. And it will more than likely end with Deadpool coming over somehow, and now he's in the Marvel Universe, and they just never talk about it again. Sure, that's fine. He comes in, and Tom Holland's sitting there, and they have a conversation, and that's the end of the movie. Yeah, fine. Or him and Wong. It'll be Wong, right? It's always Wong, right? Wong's like the new guy. So Wong, he'll pop through one of those portals, and Wong will be sitting there, and
Wong and Madison with a Y will be sitting there.
Sure. So, yes, of course that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Well, see, because the thing is what'll happen is like what they should do that, right? And they should leave. Was it Vanessa? What's his girl's name? Is his girl's name Vanessa in the movie?
Who?
The love interest.
Oh, Deadpool?
Doctor Strange?
No, Deadpool.
Oh, Deadpool? Yeah.
Is it Vanessa?
She die, right? Did she die?
No, remember he went back in time and like redid everything so he would get her back?
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
But this is the thing is, I think what should happen is he gets sucked into a portal and his whole existence in the MCU is getting out of the MCU to get back to his love interest.
No, I mean, I would think it'd be hard pressed for them to make an R-rated Deadpool movie regularly having, it's kind of the way like Marvel and DC kind of shy away from, we're not going to put Spider-Man in this Punisher Max book. We're not going to put, Superman in the in the Gerard Way Doom Patrol book where they're swearing and cursing and stuff like that. Things like that, right? I mean, I he'll be there, but it'll sort of be, I guess we had Colossus, right? That's about as close as I got. But yeah, I think they'll more than likely not cross over, too much the other way. He'll be in stuff, I'm sure, but toned down a little bit.
Disney. Yeah. Disney shouldn't tone it down. Disney should just let it be what it needs to be.
Well, no. They're not going to have him blowing up people's heads in a Spider-Man movie, right?
No,
I mean, they may bring Spider-Man over to his movie for half a minute, but it's like, I understand there's a risk.
No, what'll happen is
kids are going to be able to go watch an R-rated Deadpool movie, so they have to be careful how they deal with that.
If he comes over to the MCU and he's in those movies, he won't be able to do things like shoot somebody ahead and go, "Why isn't this working?" And he'll fourth wall break. Like that's how they'll work. I mean, that's how I would say work with it, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd have him go back to his regular movie, and he goes, "Oh, things are back to normal. What the heck happened?"
Yeah, you got to be so careful with that, though, because I mean, the last thing I want is them to turn Deadpool into cameoing in every movie. I would never go see another Marvel movie if that happened. Like Deadpool is very good in a limited sense with straight characters around him. So he's the odd one. Fine, that's fine. You gotta temper that though. Like I can't have Deadpool be the new Stan Lee and show up in every single movie. Like I know people have said this, right? No, please God, no. That would just get so old so fast, and it'd be grating and super annoying. So September 6th, 2024. So yep, not too far off. A couple years.
September 6th, 2024. We're barely under 2 years.
Yeah, they announced it. So 2 years isn't too bad. I don't know when they start filming or anything like that, but they've been working on it. Final little bit of news, like I said, not too much news here. Armor Wars, the other Disney Plus show that was left out of a lot of the recent conversations about upcoming television stuff and upcoming MCU news. There just wasn't any news. People had no idea there was a Armor Wars show coming out for Disney Plus with Don Cheadle as War Machine, and apparently, that is no longer the case. It is now going to be a full-fledged movie. So we're getting our Iron Man 4, just not called Iron Man 4. It's going to be called, either War Machine or Armor Wars or something like that. It makes sense. Look, I did think for a minute they were going to let Iron Man sit for too long without doing something theatrical. Even if Iron Man, Tony Stark is not in it, a War Machine movie would be huge. Just coming out of Iron Man, right? Just because people know this character now, so I think it's a smart move. I think it's the right move to make, especially if they want to kind of up War Machine's status a little bit in the MCU. I know we have what's her name, Riri Williams coming in Black Panther, but and the Ironheart TV show. It would be kind of weird too if they had 2 Iron Man TV shows. That might be a little bit odd. Having give War Machine the theatrical. That's super loud.
I have headphones on. I don't know why it's not.
That's our PS5 starting up noise.
What is she playing?
Yakuza 6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, step 1 in our Armor Wars movie is do anything. And I mean anything to make the MCU version of Rhodey an interesting character, because right now he's nothing. The only thing remarkable about him, and I'll challenge anybody, come up with a different answer if I'm just forgetting something, is that he fell and got injured. That's it. He's nothing.
Yeah, he's barely. He's real. He was in way more in Iron Man 1 than any other movie. He's a cool design. He's an interesting enough character in the comics, but they've done very little with him.
That's what I mean. And so I think this may be too much dip on the chip is people thinking, oh, an audience is going to line up for anybody in Iron Man armor. Well, you've done nothing to build this character up. He's just been a sidekick.
Yeah, but I think they will. I think this could do really, really well. I think a War Machine movie would do really, really well.
I don't know. He had some great oddball stuff with Tony Stark in the movies. Who can forget Tony Stank?
Yeah, but
yes,
but
Tony.
A joke. Right. A joke isn't a movie, right? So I think he's a character that a movie. Well, look, obviously a TV show would probably develop him more, but yeah, it would have to be. This is the movie that really fleshes out and develops this character, because we have in Iron Man 1 when it was what's his name, the other actor,
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, yeah. I feel like they did more in that movie alone than any of his other appearances of sort of giving this character some more backstory. But yeah, you're missing everything. He's kind of just a character that's there. But the visuals, what they could, look, I know, Kevin, Armor Wars means War Machine fighting a bunch of other armored Iron Man armored people.
Yeah, why not?
We kind of
didn't we get that kind of Iron already Man 2?
Well, Iron Man 3 kind of already was a very loose version of Armor Wars.
I thought that was just, hey, Sideshow wants to make a whole bunch of mock suits, so let's just go.
It's all related. It's all related. But Kevin, I mean, I hate to tell you, Ironheart's going to fight some Iron thing, and War Machine's going to fight some Iron thing, and
don't hate to tell me, because as of this moment we are recording, my interest level in either of those shows or movies is find me a number lower than 0 and then keep tunneling down. So you could tell they could fight a million armors and I just may never see it, so it doesn't impact me at all. So it's no worries.
See, when people are like, Whiplash sucked, I'm like, I liked Whiplash. Like he was a unique villain.
It was different.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't understand. Like, imagine if every Spider-Man movie was Venom, all right, or Carnage. Like, no,
imagine, Ryan.
Other characters.
Yeah, imagine.
He has other characters.
Imagine if every Iron Man movie was the Ironmonger, or a big armor battle. Whiplash, of all the problems with Iron Man 2, Whiplash was not the problem.
Yeah, I will defend Iron Man 2. I had no problem with it. It's just it's a fun movie.
So Iron Man 2 I had problems with right on the heels of Iron Man 1. But going back and watching Iron Man 2 like by itself, it's not bad. Right?
Yeah, like I like it better than Iron Man 3.
There's a lot that's better than Iron Man 3.
Next
lot.
Topic.
I'm
trying to think like
keep piling movies on.
Next
Iron
topic.
Man 3 just keeps going further and further down. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. What? Sorry about that. Sorry.
What? This is a question, Kevin, right? Because I know you're what Thor, right? So whatever you think of the current Thor movie, right? Put that aside. The villain in Thor 5 is going to be Hercules, right? Just for the most part.
Or
is that
villain? A villain,
right? I mean, I expect the team up at the end to fight the true threat, right?
Yeah, I don't. But see, that's a little bit different because that's like saying the Thing is fighting the Hulk, and you won't like that. I'd love to see that. What are you talking about? Give it to me tomorrow.
Comic accurate. Yes.
I mean, it's going to be a little weird because the Thor of the movies so far has been like the personality of the comic book Hercules.
Of Hercules, right?
So I don't know what they're going to, unless they make Hercules the comics Thor.
Two Hercules.
Friday.
All right. Yeah, Hercules will be super serious and Thor will be the jokester.
Yeah. So sure.
Isn't it so weird how many times Marvel has done this? Shang-Chi and Iron Fist, they just like flip-flop those characters. Hercules and Thor. It's very weird. It's very, very strange. Not sure why they do that. I'm totally down with the War Machine movie. Call it War Machine 2. Don't call it Armor Wars. Armor Wars is nothing.
They won't
call it War Machine.
They won't call it War Machine.
Why?
Because they won't call it War Machine. They'll call it Armor Wars, but they won't call it War Machine.
Why?
Because that's like it relates more to like actual military like complex stuff, like the industrial complex, the War Machine, right? They'll call it Armor Wars.
It's a way better name. War Machine's a fantastic name.
Call it Armor Wars.
Again,
because they have the Star Wars, so now they're going to have the Armor Wars.
Armor Wars is a story. War Machine is a character. There's been no Marvel movie that has been the name of a story. It's been the teams or the characters. They don't call it. The movie's not Ragnarok. The movie's Thor Ragnarok. So the movie should be War Machine Armor Wars. Right? Wouldn't that be the name of the movie? I don't see. There's no way they're calling it Armor Wars.
Maybe it's Ironheart Armor Wars.
Well, Ironheart's the show, and that is the name of the show. So
then they'll just carry it over to a movie.
I like Don Cheadle as an actor. I've enjoyed so many of his movies and his performances.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, as War Machine, sorry. He's all right.
But I just mean they've given him nothing to do, and that's why it's hard to get excited. I could just sit here and name you 50 Marvel characters I'd rather see adapted to a movie than War Machine.
Oh, they'll get to them. Don't worry.
Yeah,
all 50. They'll get to.
The world is still here. Yes.
Slowly working their way down the list, but they'll get to them all eventually. Let's see. I got a couple questions here from Craig Anderson, our good friend Craig. We'll do these, then we'll talk about Sandman. Since we're talking MCU movie stuff, Craig's got we got two set of questions here. First one, a lot of rumors about Henry Cavill getting scooped up by Disney and being in the MCU. Who should he play? D-list characters like Hyperion and Sentry don't make a lot of sense beyond a cameo. What about Wonder Man? That's Craig's guess.
He would
Wonder
be
Man?
perfect. He would be perfect.
Yeah, for Wonder Man.
For Wonder Man.
Yes.
So that's a show, right?
Yeah.
They announced that's happening, but they haven't cast
right.
They haven't cast anyone as far as we know yet. Yeah, the joke of him playing Hyperion or Sentry is funny, but that's not I don't think that's enough to make a movie. It would be very funny if Marvel made a Squadron Supreme movie. Like that would be odd. That would be.
And they fight the Thunderbolts down the road.
Get Zack Snyder to direct a Marvel Squadron Supreme movie. But yeah, like again, that's a funny joke, but I don't know if it would.
It just seems like if you look at everything they announced and all the resources that they're putting in, there's not really room for a squadron. Like all the lifting that you'd have to do to establish that, I don't know. It's
Eternal's level of.
Yeah. Hey, come look at the Justice League, everybody. I mean, we just call them something else.
Cameo, fun thing that happens. Sure. If they want and they go out and what the hell are the Avengers movies coming up called? Kang War and
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars and Kang,
that's Secret
Kang something. Look, they're doing multiverse stuff. If they somehow get Cavill, Gal Gadot, you want to bring in Jason Momoa, you snag these guys or people very similar in appearance.
How about Michael Keaton as Nighthawk?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you want to have a Squadron Supreme cameo in one of these.
Sure.
I'm all for it. That's very funny. All right. That'd be a good joke. It'd be a cool scene. But a full movie, I feel like
it's just going to be too much like The Boys.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't do that, right?
But I mean, it's going to be like this is ripping off The Boys.
Yeah. You've got to be PG-13 and, it's...
But did Craig suggest Wonder Man? Because that's perfect.
He did. He said Wonder Man.
Absolutely. I couldn't even think of a better idea than that. It's perfect.
Yeah, he's got the right...
Would he be good as a Kraven?
Look, charm, right?
Would he be good as Kraven the Hunter?
That's already cast, isn't it?
I know, but I'm just asking. I was just like...
Oh, I thought you meant we're trying to cast him. Yeah.
Like, I almost would have put him in... I mean, they want to recast Cap. They want to do if we had a different U.S. agent. I don't think he'd be good as U.S. agent, though. U.S. agent needs someone more smarmy. The guy they cast for U.S. agent's really good. I forget the guy's name, but he's good because he's got that right amount of like. He just looks off. He doesn't look like he looks off from Captain America. Right, yeah. He looks good. Yeah. I mean, I hate to typecast him as like the big guy, but that's who he is.
What if they cast him as the new Doom?
I wouldn't. I mean, that's not Doom, right? Like, that some of those people sure, you CG him as Colossus or something like that. I don't have there's not a lot of good answers because Hercules would have worked if they wanted someone more, not Greek or more Central European.
Do you think he could pull off a Frank Castle?
In the comics, Hercules is very white looking. Yeah. So, but I'm Wonder Man's fine.
Do you think he could pull off Frank Castle?
Nah, Punisher. I mean, they've drawn Punisher big before, but I don't like that. Punisher is military. He's not bodybuilder, right?
He's strong guy. They're gonna X Factor him.
Plus, I think Punisher is
strong guy.
Like Henry Cavill's too pretty for Punisher.
Yeah. You need someone.
Hey, who would he be on Alpha Flight?
Oh, he'd be great as Guardian. He looks like exactly like the drawings.
Yeah. But that would be too, But all love for our buddy Miguel, who's #1 Alpha Flight fan in the world. But Alpha Flight's not going to be a solo movie. It's the same problem. It's like they'll be in stuff, they'll be there, but you're not going to see. I don't think
I'm half expecting there to be a cameo of them in like the Deadpool 3 movie.
Sure, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Deadpool and Logan fighting in the Weapon X facility, and Alpha Flight comes rolling in. Yes, 100%. Yeah, but solo movie.
I would love to see him as Wonder Man, but my first choice is have him back as Superman and do it. Okay,
Marvel DC crossover.
No, just do a Superman movie where Superman is the only superhero in the movie.
It'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. Well, what a wonderful segue into Craig's next question. David Zaslav has put you in charge of the DC movies.
Wait,
of the 10-year plan.
Is that his name, David?
David Zaslav?
Yeah, Zaslav is right.
Did I write it down wrong?
I don't know. It's that guy.
No, David Zaslav. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. Okay.
It's that guy that's tanking everything. Okay.
Oh, the Warner Brothers guy.
Brother guy. Yes. Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is Craig's
the guy that's driving the ship.
Next question. Right. His next question. Yes. He's put you in charge of DC and the 10-year movie plan they have coming up. What is your guiding philosophy?
The 10-year.
Right. That's what they said, right? The 10-year plan, right? That's what they said, right? So, is it a Marvel Phase 1 formula? A huge multiverse telling distinct stories across multiple platforms with no continuity, or something else? Where do you go? Do you copy Marvel straight?
No.
Start with Iron Man, and you just start this ball all over again?
You start with one of the Trinity and go?
Multiverse telling distinct stories across multiple platforms, no continuity.
Yes, that. And I would make sure that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are exclusively reserved for the big screen, and every movie that they are in is an all-ages movie. That doesn't mean rated G. That means rated like PG or PG-13, like a Marvel. That would be my template, the Marvel movies.
They'll all be PG-13. Yeah.
But as far as like our Black Label movies, like Joker and Constantine or whatever else, sure, go hard R. That's fine. But I'm saying the core characters, I'm reserving. I'm putting a fence around them. They're only on the big screen. They are only in solo movies, and they are all ages. And if we want to have a Justice League team up 5 years into our 10-year plan, great. But for right now, we're going to have room for Black Label. We're going to have room for superheroes and everything. No continuity except those three main characters I mentioned.
Well, what about? I mean, are you keeping Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot and those guys?
Sure.
Or?
I mean, we probably have to recast Batman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Robert Pattinson going from that movie we just saw to the kind of movie I would greenlight is like going from first gear to fourth with nothing in between. Your engine's going to fall out. So we'd probably have to just recast and go forward from that. But if somebody wants to make Joker 2, well, I know they already are, for example, or, pitch whatever else you want. Madame Xanadu, sure. Zatanna, sure. Swamp Thing, back on TV, let's do it. You're free to play. That's like the Black Label, air quotes, section of our lineup. That's what I would greenlight.
That's like your Doom Patrol, your
Titans, all of those were all good. Yeah. I'm just saying I'm putting a fence around our main superheroes that every kid knows. Those are going to be reserved for all ages properties.
Yeah, it's tough because, the way these things sort of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, sort of the way they sort of spread out, right? So you wall off Batman, but what does that mean for Teen Titans? What does that mean for Dick Grayson? I like the idea, but there's a filter that kind of makes it tough to go through it. At some point, Robin's going to be there. So how do you deal with that?
If you want to,
if there's no continuity,
if you want to do a Teen Titans show with Nightwing as the leader, just don't mention Batman. But it's fine. Everybody will be fine. Just don't mention Batman. And people who are on online forums going, why don't they ever explain how he got to be Nightwing? It's like the old days of DC. You just don't print those letters, and you just go on with what you're doing.
Because I totally agree, right? I mean, we talked about this. The world is open. They should do everything, right? If they have commitments from people for long term, then keep the people around. I think they don't need to ever acknowledge it. It's a little like it's just James Bond. It just goes on and it happens. You can have some loose continuity between stuff, but the movies are not so so dependent on each other that they can't stand alone. I think this is what has been some of the bigger problems with the Marvel TV shows is that they don't feel like they're complete to themselves. They feel like they're like, and now we're taking something from the movie and then we're going to go back to the movie and we're sort of just in the middle, right? And the movies like Doctor Strange, although I've seen everything, so I liked it. I don't understand how anyone watched that movie if they hadn't seen WandaVision. Like, what the hell did you get out of this, right? It sounds great in theory, but it gets so convoluted, and especially now with all the multiverse stuff. So the idea of having, Teen Titans Go and Joker and Super Pets and Swamp Thing and Titans and all these shows that are all and Stargirl and all this stuff is they're all by themselves. Like, that's cool. The multiverse exists, so they can cross over whenever they want, right? I would, in a similar way, you keep the big guys. I would extend that. I would say Aquaman, Flash, right? They've obviously done Shazam, so if you don't start any of this stuff over. Shazam, Green Lantern, you keep the big guys for the movies, but that leaves the premium shows for things like the Justice Society, all the Vertigo, because I think Vertigo is way better. All the Vertigo concepts are way better in television format than movie format. Just long form storytelling. The big superhero movies are the big fight scenes, the big events, they're the big action pieces. I don't want to help. We talked about this. I don't want we're getting a Constantine Hellblazer movie, but Constantine. What the hell's his name?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves Constantine movie.
Yes.
Is what I meant to say.
Woo-hoo.
I don't want that.
I don't give a rat's ass. I'm like, I'll watch it.
Sure,
bring the guy that played the devil back, whatever his name was.
Wouldn't a Hellblazer? Isn't a Hellblazer TV show such a better idea? Isn't it such a more interesting idea?
Well, the problem is they did that. They had somebody who was great for it, and they tanked it, and then they salvaged that guy and brought him over to CW, right?
Yeah,
and now you've kind of gotten a renewed interest in the character with Sandman and a female version of Joanna Constantine.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I mean, I would just do a Joanna Constantine show. Like, I wouldn't even, all these characters from Vertigo and all the darker characters, to me, you can do the Justice League Dark movie down the road. Absolutely. That'd be super cool. But no, leave those to the show. But the big superhero guys make their own movies. Yes. Now, look, I want a Justice League movie. I want the team ups. I love that stuff. But keep the inter-movie continuity light. They all take place in the same world. They all do their own thing. People are too focused on the team-ups. They're too focused on the cameos. They're too focused on the end credit scenes, on the post-credit scenes, and they're not focused on the quality of the movie. Make a good movie. I don't want post-credit scenes. I don't need all the tie-ins. I don't need every movie to link to each other. Just have a good movie. And then do your team up down the road. That's fine. You can have the team up movie, like a Batman, Superman, like a World's Finest movie, be incredible. Sure, down the road. But build solid, successful, standalone movies. You don't have to not acknowledge or count or have the continuity not work. Like, there can be continuity loose. You don't have to have Superman flying through Gotham and it's a totally different Gotham than what's in the Batman movies. It's the same Gotham. So you can do it where there's light continuity, but keep these things a little more independent.
I think mine is kind of an amalgam of the two in the sense that, I think you need to kind of fence off that core, brand, like, Kevin's, you have your three mains, but you also bring in those tertiary ones, the ones like Green Lantern and Flash and Aquaman and all those. But I think that like things like the TV shows and the Black Label and kind of the Vertigo and all of that type of stuff, I think that you do it, and whether or not it's tied to the main universe, right, or like the DCU Prime, so to speak, if it's not tied, then don't worry about it, right? If Swamp Thing is going down the road and there's a point where there's a Batman episode, you don't need to have the Batman that you had from the movies. You can have whatever Batman you want to put into that, because that fits that Batman fits that universe, so to speak, right? I think DC's problem is always like, well, we need to make sure that this is here and this is here and this is here, and I think that constriction doesn't allow for you to have things like a Keanu Reeves Constantine movie and then potentially just a Joanna Constantine TV show. They both exist. They're both there. They don't need to have continuity connecting them, right?
I'm not against, like having a Batman show on a Batman movie. I'm not against multiple versions of the same characters. The studios seem to be against that, but I think it's fine.
And I think that's a big issue. Like
as long as you're not treading the same plot.
Right? But it's one of those things where we dive into, we got that Swamp Thing TV show, which was really good, and then it just stopped.
I liked it.
Right. And it's like, Sandman didn't really have any connections to DC, but they sprinkled the connections in, right? We had like some of the doll, like the toys, and we had some of the things on the screen, but it wasn't like it was, oh look, there's the Ben Affleck Batman, or there's the Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, right? I think that's where, just again, good movies, good characters, good stories. That's what we all want.
Yeah,
if they connect in the end, cool, right? But if like end credit scenes build to something else, but you don't need to see that end credit scene, right? So I don't know.
Well, if you don't see it, you're not building to anything if you don't see it.
But that's the thing, is like Eternals, right, was a movie on its own, but the end credit scene gave us Star Fox, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, it's like, okay. It's kind of that problem with the TV shows where it's like some of the shows kind of have something like WandaVision, right? Like what happened to Wanda kind of in between, Endgame and Multiverse of Madness. Like what happened to her? Like we had something that happened. But at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier, what do we got? Well, Falcon had the shield at the end of Endgame, and he has the shield and a suit at the end of, Falcon Winter Soldier. We got introduced to a couple characters, but, at the end of the day,
and that's what I was saying. They'll pick up on it, but eventually, right? And who knows when. I don't mind post-credit scenes if there's kind of an immediacy to it, but teasing something that's like fucking
years off,
like anything with Vision, it's gonna be years until I assume before they do anything with that. Years and years and years. I don't know, like the end credits where they would roll into the next. So if WandaVision had an end credit scene that tied in with Falcon Winter Soldier, and Falcon Winter Soldier had one that tied in with, I'm trying to remember the order, how they come out was after that.
Loki.
I remember it was after Falcon Winter Soldier. Loki, yeah, like that makes a little more sense because you're setting up the next thing to watch. But when the end credit scenes and the setup is so far out, like it kind of defeats the purpose of that a little bit.
Well, that was like the end of WandaVision. It was like, we're setting up Multiverse of Madness, but you had all of this other stuff happen before Multiverse of Madness happened.
Yeah, then like the early ones, they were setting up the next movies with Thor's hammer, right? And them getting what the cosmic cube and Thanos was like a more broad setup, and that worked for me okay, but yeah, so like we were talking about, what's his face?
Star Fox?
No. In Thor, Hercules showing up, right? Like, who fucking knows how long that's going to be? If it even happens, right? They said that was a surprise to them that they said Thor will return, right? And they were like, really? We don't know about that. Okay, I guess. So, yeah, end credit scene, and this is what I mean. The focus on cameos and end credit scenes. If I read one more article about Daredevil not being in this week's She-Hulk, I'm going to fucking murder someone. I don't read the article. I just see the headlines, of course, because I would never actually click any of these. It doesn't matter. You're all being played. It's realize you're the mark.
They don't.
He'll be in it, I'm sure, in the final episode. Fucking, it's not a Daredevil show. I hate this because She-Hulk's really good, and I hate. Where was Daredevil? They didn't put Daredevil in the show yet. It's not a fucking Daredevil show. Like, watch the show. Watch the show that's on the TV. Don't care what the post-credit scene is. Don't care who's coming in next week's episode. It's so bizarre. People get so obsessed with the next thing. Yeah. They don't care about the current thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
It's instant gratification, man. We want that instant gratification.
But right, and the next thing is they care about the grass is greener. The next thing is going to be the better thing, and just enjoy what you have. Well, I don't get it.
I liked end credit scenes that kind of that made you like that was a tease or was an inside thing, or right, like when they revealed Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch at the end of what was that Winter Soldier? No,
that was Ultron. No, they were yes, they were in Ultron.
They were in.
You're talking about the scene with Baron Strucker.
Yes, that was at the end of.
Was that Winter Soldier? No.
Yeah,
it was Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier? Yeah, because then that goes into Age of Ultron.
But that's the thing is like they teased it, and people were like, "Who are these characters?" Right? You had Thanos turn, and you saw his side profile, and people were like, people in the know knew who it was, but people were curious. People were like, "Ooh, who is this?" Right? But now it's just like, "Oh, look, they're recruiting for the Thunderbolts at most of these Phase 4 things." Okay. Right, like, and it's not for anything that's like really. There's no urgency to it, right? Like, it doesn't kind of keep you excited for more.
Well, you guys have inspired me. If I'm running DC Films, to answer Craig's question, I'm putting a ban on all post-credit scenes. None. You guys can stay to watch the end credits to see all the people who worked on our movies. There's going to be no teases of anything else.
I like the idea behind it. I just hate the obsession with them.
Because the conversation then becomes that.
Right. And not the thing that's not the current
not
thing,
the movie that we just got watched. It's
right. That's my frustration with post-credit scenes. Like, setting something up is fine, but it can't be the only reason to watch one.
Now, would it be...
And it is for a lot of people.
Now, would it be something that would be interesting to see added to potentially like a streaming release? So the movie's released in theaters, but when it was released in streaming...
I mean, they do that type of stuff. They have bonus features like Blu-rays and stuff. Like when you're watching a TV show again, the next week on, I understand, right? You get that little stinger at the very end before the credits roll, like, because you're immediately going to see the next thing next week. Like, so I understand
it's a hype
this, but
thing, right?
Yeah, and I get it, but it's just a weird obsession with it, and I don't know.
By the way, just to close out the DC thing, when I say I want the movies I'm going to greenlight are going to be all ages, if you walk out of a Batman movie of my regime and you go, I can't put my finger, what's the thing that reminds me of that Batman movie we just saw? The answer is going to be the animated series. That's what I'm talking about with all ages.
Yeah.
Not children, not for children.
Sure. Do you give room though for an R-rated Batman movie?
Not right. Not at first. Not at first.
No. But I mean, like, do you let there be a Dark Knight Returns live action R-rated? This is not the Batman that's.
I'm trying to right the ship first and set up a field that's going to keep producing fruit, not burn it all down because I want to do a nihilistic, fan wanking, jerk off, death metal. Every character super serious and as a killer. Like, sure, we can do that and we'll burn the entire audience out and leave the property like completely just a husk of nothing. So yes, Dark Knight Returns, at some point we can have that conversation. The first 5 years, no way. Don't even come in my office. I'm going to have a guard at the door, ask them what they're pitching, and then a trapdoor's going to be like Dr. Evil with a button and a trapdoor if you come in.
That's great. Sandman.
Yes.
What episode are you guys reviewing?
Talk about Sandman.
The serial convention.
Yeah. I want to see the casting call for Big Fun. No, what's the name?
Funland.
Funland. Yeah. I want to see the casting call for Funland where they're like child rapist and murderer. Like you're gonna see who wants to have this on their resume, because that was again one of those characters I wasn't sure if they were gonna really do.
Oh, they went with it,
and they did,
and it was amazing.
And they did.
Oh
boy,
that actor was typecast like there was no tomorrow, and it was mwah.
He was that right amount of creepy, but believable. Yeah, it was good.
Even the joke from the comic made it in there for where he gets his kid, like his prey.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's Funland, right? I mean, he goes to Disney World, right? I mean, right, sure. Leanne was even sitting there. She's like, "There's no quiet parts of Disneyland. Like, where the hell is he taking these kids?" He's kind of like his faux. I mean, again, straight from the comic, right? He's like faux Mickey Mouse ears, right? The little hat. So yeah, very good. Child rape. And murder. Anyway,
don't forget, and
murder, of course, and murder. Yeah, no. The problem, I don't know if I was supposed. I don't even. It's like kind of like a laugh chuckle when the kid's walking around and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm dying to make it to." I was so happy. I'm blanking on everything they just said. All those like murder, death, like innuendos that everyone's saying, and this kid's like walking around the convention. This is very good. They missed the line from the comic though. Doesn't the person at the counter say like? Doesn't someone say like, "Oh, I thought you guys were"? They'd have like all the cereal boxes, like and all like the action, like the little action. Doesn't say someone's character say something about that in the book about like, "Oh, I thought there'd be like vendors with." Selling stuff here. I have some vague. I'll have to go back and look at the issue
because Gilbert says something about it in the show.
Well, and they said, they were like, "Oh, no kids at a cereal convention." Yeah, but I have to go back and look at the issue because I think I like the person checking him in at the booths. I don't know. There was a line that I have in the back of my head that they didn't say in the show that I was kind of surprised. But anyway. Yeah, for people that maybe haven't seen the show or very, very the extreme out of context way we approach this episode, in the comic and in this, right, a group of serial killers found the Corinthian and they invite him to be a guest of honor at their serial killer convention. Of course, you can't call it a serial killer convention, so they call it a cereal, like you're eating cereal. And the idea is that they all are involved with the cereal industry in some way, which leads to some very funny and horrible situations throughout the course of the comic and the show as well. Yeah. Yeah, they did. That was good. That was a good one. I really liked it. It was very good. It was very good. Funland was great. Kevin Corinthians almost over.
I know.
It's almost
I know,
over.
man. I'm.
He's so good, though. I don't care. He's so.
No, I'm
good.
not complaining about the actor or anything like that. I'm just like, God, I feel like half of this series has had him in a significant part of the episode.
He's been there. Yeah, he's been there through the whole thing. So. Yeah, it's so funny. I remember. So when Toby gets back, we'll have to ask him if he finished up the show. In one of the earlier episodes, when I talked to them, he said, I remember which episode he said he watched. Where he's like, "Oh yeah, Sandman was like barely in it." Like, I'm like, yeah, there are points where he's barely in the book, or maybe not in the book. There might be episodes if they do more seasons like that he may not even be in. Or just barely. And so in this is one of those perfect episodes where, yeah, he's barely in this episode. But it works so good because he's the back, kind of the thing that starts all these stories. And then he kind of like a crypt keeper, or like kind of like those old Found Stranger comics, like he would sort of be in the background and kind of come in at the very end. And do his thing. And again, Sandman, he's kind of a dickhead, right? Morpheus is kind of a dick, taking away Hector Hall. Again, I don't want to spoil it for people that don't know, but remember these scenes with Lyda and the baby. Mm-hmm. Extremely important.
You may have to remember them for a while.
Yeah. Just very important. So, this is not a throw. There's nothing throwaway in Sandman. None of these arcs are just random for nothing, and they just kind of exist. Like, again, extremely important for later in the book.
It's hard to say much about the serial episode just on its own because it's in a chain of. It's not a standalone, so you kind of have to bring in the previous two episodes as well. It'd be like commenting on the Doll's House as a trade versus a single issue of the Doll's House.
Yeah, of course, and I think I think next week, kind of wrapping up the first season, we'll have maybe a little bit more to say, but. One to go, and then
I didn't see anything in the issue. It's like I glanced through it.
Yeah, I thought it was something about when they came in. I'll have to go grab my book. I thought they were asking about, like, I don't know. I just had this thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Not important.
Yeah. Did everybody see Sandman Audible 3 is out now?
Yeah. So
I'm waiting for the free credit. I'll get it.
Yeah, I'll definitely. So I never listened to 2. I don't. I have a couple podcasts I listen to, and I just don't get a lot of time to listen to that type of stuff. So I'll have to make time to go through 2. Where does 3 go through? Does it say?
I think it's World's End.
Yeah, it's going to do well. It might do some things from Fables and Reflections.
I think 4 is. I can't remember where I read this now, so don't quote me. But I believe if they do a 4 would be The Kindly Ones in the Wake.
Yeah, I don't know if it's yeah, so Orpheus, the special, Destruction, the End at the Intersection of All Worlds.
Yeah, that's World's End.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what issue that goes through. So yeah,
it has my well, I've got to get it because it has my favorite Sandman issue.
Oh, Prez. Oh, that's right. Prez is in this run. Yeah. Who? That's J.K. Appa, right? Or KJ Appa, right? The guy that was he was at Riverdale. He was Archie.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I knew I'd seen that name. I just couldn't put.
Give me a Prez movie with him. We're not getting the Wonder Twins movie. Make him Prez. Give me a Prez movie.
How about a Prez miniseries?
Special.
like 3 episodes.
Sure. Sure.
Oh man, they're doing the try for $0. Like literally every single Sandman Audible I've gotten on the trial, so I haven't had to pay for it.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Well, almost done, Kevin. Almost done. 2 weeks. These suckers that have been done with the show for 2 months.
We've still got a gift that keeps on giving.
Waiting.
What are you talking about?
We're still basking in it, baby.
Whenever I want.
Yeah, but it's over. It's over.
So
we're still new to us. It's
That's
still
right,
new. It's
yeah.
great. I love it.
Yeah.
We made the right decision. Good decision.
Yeah, but see, I can rewatch the episodes I really enjoy over and over again.
Yeah.
Well,
I can watch it
be able to
for
do
the
that
first
too.
time. Yeah.
I've already done the first time. I'm on the multiple enjoyment time now.
But that's what I mean. We're getting to watch it for the first time.
What I'm curious, Brock, don't tell me now because I'll ask this later. Okay. But what I'm curious about is at the end of this is what was everybody's like highlight standout episode of this first group? But don't say anything yet. In case the answer is one we haven't seen yet. Don't build it up, okay?
Yeah, I'll if so we're 2 weeks out. I'll make sure Toby's on now because it'll be a Sunday night, so we should be able to record. And then I'll make sure Charlie's on too. We can have a big wrap up after episode 11. So, all right, that is it. Wonderful podcast. Tight 116.
Did you guys watch the current She-Hulk?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm way behind.
Okay.
I did. It was very good. Yeah. Kevin. I would say extremely accurate, but a costume accurate porcupine. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Get out your Marvel. Yeah. Get out your Marvel encyclopedia for this episode. Okay.
Now, I will say this: She-Hulk is amazing in that I watch the end credits because they make slight changes to every single one.
I didn't realize. I looked it up. I can't remember the artist's name, but he did Captra with Chip Zdarsky. I believe that's the art. I'm blanking on the artist's name, but I looked up who the artist on that was, and he's had done a ton of work. But he must just be doing like commercial work now. But yeah, I believe it's the same artist that did the image book Captra, Kaptara, Captara, with Chip Zdarsky.
Keith. No, that's.
I'll let you guess. I could be wrong. I believe I'm right. I believe that's who it is.
Kagan McLeod?
Sounds right. That sounds right. I don't remember his name. We can all Google this at the same time.
Yeah, his last name's McLeod, isn't it? Isn't it McLeod? I just can't think of his first name. Isn't it McLeod is his last name?
Yeah, no, it's McLeod. Okay. Leod.
McLeod.
Yeah, but it's a Mick.
Yeah, Kagan McLeod. Yeah.
But you say the Mick, so not the cloud part. The M, this lowercase c is with the M.
Yeah,
it's not McCloud, it's McLeod. Or McLeod. Because the L is capitalized, it's a different word.
Yeah, but that name is pronounced McLeod. Spelled like that.
What is wrong with that?
Spelled like that.
Yeah, Captara. Yeah, how was I pronouncing it? I was pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, Captara.
See, Ryan, you cursed it.
Anyway,
you cursed us when you said wonderful podcast, a tight 116, and now the wheels have fallen off.
Yeah, wheels always fall off.
Brock always wants to make this podcast 5 minutes longer than I try to make it. So.
That's Toby wants to make it 20 minutes longer.
Anyway, wonderful podcast. We'll talk more She-Hulk.
Trying to get our Patreon.
When Toby's back from his European adventure, we will definitely have him on because we get to hear about his. We get to hear about his.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we get to hear about his secret. His Guardians of the Galaxy Secret Cinema. So I know we'll definitely hear about that. Thank you to our wonderful Patreon backers, including all our top tier backers like Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at ClearPathCoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
For our high tier backers, we have a couple that get the graphic novels we sounded every couple of months. I completely missed our last shipment. Those will be coming out soon. I got to do that this week.
I never ship those out.
I'm looking at our
ships those out.
third batch, and I go, oh my God, I never sent out the second batch. So we're going to get on that pretty soon. ComicsConspiracyPodcast.com. Sorry, ComicConspiracyPodcast.com. No S. Comic Conspiracy Podcast is where you can find all our previous episodes. It was Apple Podcast. And you go to patreon.com/comicconspiracy to kick us a couple bucks. Head over to comicsconspiracy.biz. All our wonderful, wonderful items on there for sale. We are nearing 10,000 items on sale, like discounted, 50% off. Comic books, graphic novels, some toys and statues, tons of shit on our website now. All at comicsconspiracy.biz, as well as all our new product at the store. ConspiratorBrock.com is Brock's website. You can go check out his stuff over there. Charlie's Doctor Who podcast is The Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. You can listen to his podcast. Big Who news coming soon. We're getting this for show for the Doctor, so they'll have a lot of Doctor Who to talk about.
Who?
And Kevin's weekly interview series called Between the Panels, which is at fanbasepress.com. You had someone coming you wanted to mention?
I can't. I can.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure if it was like
no.
You always have big people, but you have
the next two guests are Will Dennis, former Vertigo editor, current working with Scott Snyder at Best Jacket, and a writer some of you may have heard of named Brian K. Vaughan.
Ooh,
nice. Big ones coming up. Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. LeanneHill.com is my wife Leanne's website. You can see her artwork there, as well as Etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. You can buy her art over there on Etsy. If you're on Twitter, you can follow me. I'm Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. And check out Geekbox podcast I do every week with a couple of my buddies, or every other week, sorry. Talk about nerd shit. And Manga Machinations, manga and anime over there. A couple of friends that run that. All right, everyone, thank you very, very much for listening to this wonderful podcast of The Comic Conspiracy. We'll be back next week.